Well, howdy f***ing do, audience. How you doing? I know, it's been quite a long time since I last uploaded a video to this channel, so I'll tell you what, I'll make up for it. I'm gonna give you a list of 10 cancelled Rockstar games. How about that? That seems fair to me, so you know what, without any further ado, let's get into it. Number 1. Agent. Now this is by far one of the most talked about games by Rockstar when it comes to games that never saw the light of day. The game was meant to take place in the late 1970s during the Cold War, and would take you, the player, into a dark, sinister, conspiracy-filled world of espionage and political assassinations. While some may claim that the game is actually still in development and that Rockstar hasn't given up on Agent just yet, many signs point towards the game being cancelled. The game first began development in 2003 when a team of members from the Rockstar San Diego studio were sent to Cairo and given the task of taking reference photographs of the city, basically to be used as reference for when making the game setting. Around this time, only a brief tech demo video and some environmental development screenshots had surfaced. It was also at this point that Rockstar had plans on releasing Agent both on the original Xbox and on the PlayStation 2. The game was then announced in July of 2007 at E3, but this time as a PlayStation 3 exclusive title. And by the way, Rockstar really stood behind this game. In fact, Agent was described as being both genre-defining and a whole new way of experiencing video that we haven't really seen before. In June of 2009, Rockstar Games returned to E3 to provide some snippets of info about the game.
Today, we'd like to announce a new property coming from Rockstar North. It's called Agent, and it will be exclusive to PlayStation 3. Agent will take a player across the globe amidst the shadowy world of espionage and assassins in the darkest hours of the late 1970s. It's clear that Rockstar recognizes PlayStation as an ideal place to build an audience, and that's why we're thrilled to have Agent coming exclusively to PlayStation. You're all aware of the impact GTA had on our platforms, and we expect Agent to have the same must-have value.
And from this point on, Take-Two Interactive, Sony, and even Rockstar Games all became very quiet on Agent. But eventually, Leigh Donahue, an environmental artist at Rockstar North, uploaded 2 sets of 4 in-game screenshots to his online portfolio, all of which were dated back to 2009. And then, in 2012, Darren Charles Haddon, that'd be another Rockstar Games artist, uploaded some in-game screenshots of Agent to his own website. Kind of surprisingly, Darren actually talked a bit about the current state of Agent. He stated that the Agent art team had been reassigned to provide work on GTA 5 instead, and he also expressed some uncertainty about Agent ever being released. Take-Two Interactive then renewed the trademark for Agent in 2016, and subsequently, the GTA Forums user, GTA Fan Club, published some alleged, big emphasis on alleged because nothing has been connected to Rockstar as of yet, some alleged Agent concept art. And then finally, in 2018, Take-Two Interactive allowed the trademark for Agent to expire, making it kind of clear that neither Rockstar Games nor Take-Two Interactive have much of any plans for the Agent brand. Even though the game is still listed on Rockstar's website, it is pretty obvious by now, at least in my opinion, that Agent is not going to be released. Number 2. Spec Ops. Barking Dog Studios was a Canadian video game development studio located in Vancouver. After doing some contract work here and there on some moderately successful titles, Barking Dog Studios was bought by Take-Two Interactive, and thus renamed to Rockstar Vancouver. And after being acquired by Take-Two, Rockstar Vancouver began development on Spec Ops, that being the 9th installment in the Spec Ops series, planned to be released on the PS2. Now, Spec Ops, from what I can tell, is a franchise of games that has not been very well received at all. Despite this, for whatever reason, Rockstar Vancouver worked on the game for about a couple of years until the project was eventually cancelled. Not a whole lot is known about what the development process was like, or even what the game itself would have been like had Rockstar Vancouver finished it. One interesting detail that did surface in 2005 was that Josh Homme, the frontman of Queens of the Stone Age out of all people, had had been working on the soundtrack for this game. Eventually, Rockstar Vancouver moved on to a different project, that being Bully on the PlayStation 2. So unlike most of the other items on this list, Rockstar Games canceling one of their games did eventually result in a much better and way more memorable game being made. I don't know about you, but I feel like Rockstar definitely dodged a bullet there. Number 3. We Are the Mods. Following the release of Rockstar's 2005 video game adaptation of The Warriors, and by the way, that's a film I strongly recommend you check out if you haven't already. Subsequent to the release of this game, Rockstar Toronto began development on a spiritual successor entitled We Are the Mods. The game's development initiated in 2006, and like most other games by Rockstar around this time, the game was set to be released on the PlayStation 2 and on the original Xbox. That is, until Rockstar Toronto decided to develop the game for the Xbox 360 instead. Although the game was based on a similar premise to The Warriors, it seemed as though Rockstar instead had plans on crafting their own universe based on real-life gangs from the 60s. And as some of you might have guessed, the game took a great deal of inspiration from the big mods and rockers rivalry that took place in the 60s and 70s. To just kind of summarize what was going on at the time, the rockers embraced rock and roll, riding motorcycles, and not to mention greasy rocker hairstyles like the pompadour, and the mods being centered around softer music like soul, blues, and ska, as well as riding around on scooters instead of motorcycles, because that's way more preferable, isn't it? You basically had rugged and cool versus soft and mellow. I don't know about you, but I feel like this is a very interesting and kind of unique place to take inspiration from as far as making an action-packed video game goes. And here's something that a lot of you probably did not know. The game was actually never officially announced. As a matter of fact, Rockstar Games has yet to make any kind of statement about it. The reason we now know about it is because of a leak that happened back in 2011. Basically, what happened was that a former Rockstar Toronto artist and then current team leader of the No More Room in Hell mod for Half-Life 2, that'd be Matt Kazan, posted various screenshots of assets from the game on the No More Room in Hell website. I don't know why he thought that was a good idea, but yeah, he did. Now this, as you would expect, quickly gained a lot of attention. So naturally, Kazan took down all of the screenshots and replaced them with a crude MS Paint drawing. But alas, for Kazan, the damage was done. So luckily for us, several people, including some people from Kotaku, had actually archived the leaked screenshots prior to them being taken down. Oh, and here's what Kazan said on his website before he took everything down. The project had begun as a PlayStation 2 spiritual follow-up to the earlier hit The Warriors, but partway through the development cycle, Rockstar New York asked us to switch mods from a 6th generation to a 7th generation development, changing from the PlayStation 2 to the Xbox 360 as the primary development platform. Much of the content here reflects that change, with the mods being the first 7th generation project the team had worked on. It was a learning experience for everyone involved. The game was similar in design and style to The Warriors, but set in 1960s England at the height of the mods versus rockers era. And subsequent to this, Rockstar Toronto then shifted their focus on developing Manhunt 2 instead. Number 4. Race and Chase. Just like the cancellation of Spec Ops, Rockstar Games cancelling Race and Chase resulted in Rockstar Games creating a much more memorable and unique game. Rockstar North was initially named DMA Design. Now DMA Design, just like its current reincarnation, was located in Edinburgh, Scotland. In 1995, DMA Design began development on Race and Chase, an open-world cops versus robbers style video game, scheduled to be released on PC, DOS, Windows 95, PlayStation, Sega Saturn, and Nintendo 64. The game had a very similar top-down perspective to both GTA 1 and 2. Several cities and game modes were going to be featured, including Cannonball Run, that being a basic car racing minigame, Demolition Derby, a game mode somewhat similar to the Blood Ring and Blood Bowl minigames in GTA Vice City and GTA San Andreas, and 2 modes of bank robbery, one mode wherein the player player would take on the role of a bank robber with a getaway car, attempting to flee the police and get to a safe house as quick as possible. And the other mode being the inverse, wherein the player would take on the role of a cop, attempting to stop a fleeing bank robber. The development process of the game was rocky, to say the least. A lot of the DMA design team members lacked much experience, and so they naturally had a difficult time putting the game together. But after some change in management, development became smoother and DMA now had an easier time working on Race and Chase. According to a leaked Race and Chase game design document, the game's concept was described as follows. The aim of Race and Chase is to produce a fun, addictive, and fast multiplayer car racing and crashing game which uses a novel graphics method. Development carried on until DMA developers came across a very interesting and fun game-changing glitch. As soon as the police cars began chasing you, they would ram into you and violently push you off the road. The sheer aggressive and nonsensical nature of how the police AI behaved gave the folks at DMA Design an idea. Nobody wanted to play as the police because even to the game's developers, it seemed kinda boring, especially compared to playing as a criminal wreaking havoc on the city. And the fact that the police AI was so over-the-top aggressive made playing as a criminal all the more fun. From that point on, what could have been just a bland cops versus robbers racing game from the late 90s ended up becoming one of the biggest video game franchises ever. And so, Race and Chase was cancelled and DMA Design reinvented most of the game as Grand Theft Auto. The cartoony top-down perspective remained, along with a few features here and there, but overall, DMA Design now had a brand new exciting idea in the making. An idea that terrified concerned parents and royally pissed off stuffy politicians. Despite the controversy and despite the uphill battle against Parliament DMA Design had on their hands, they still stood their ground and pursued making this game. Grand Theft Auto was simply too good of an idea to give up on. Years passed and DMA Design went from a small-time studio to becoming one of the most successful video game studios in modern gaming. Number 5. Grand Theft Auto Online Crime World. Following the release of Grand Theft Auto 2, Take-Two Interactive revealed that DMA Design was now making 2 more installments in the Grand Theft Auto series. Grand Theft Auto 3D, which eventually became Grand Theft Auto 3, and Grand Theft Auto Online Crime World. In a 1999 December issue of the PC Zone gaming magazine, a brief article gave us quite possibly the only snippet of information we now have about the cancelled project. Having snapped up DMA Design from publishers Infogrames, Take-Two have big plans for the Scottish developer, with ambitions to extend the Grand Theft Auto series with 2 more titles. GTA 3D will be the obvious next step, setting the crime 'em up in 3D cities with players able to walk about, Quake style, and carjack various vehicles in range of cities. Grand Theft Auto Online Crime World is a different matter, with worldwide servers letting you drive with and against other players in local cities. Whether this means only US players will be able to drive about in US cities remains to be seen, and we don't yet know whether Crime World will be 3D or top-down. At a guess, a 2D view seems more feasible at this stage. We'll keep you posted on release dates for both games. And keeping us posted, they did not. As some of you may know, GTA 3 was initially meant to have an online multiplayer mode, so it is a possibility that Grand Theft Auto Online Crime World and Grand Theft Auto 3D became an amalgamation during development. That is, until the online multiplayer mode was scrapped, which would explain why you can find some multiplayer leftovers in GTA 3. Number 6. Grand Theft Auto on the Sega Saturn. Shortly after the release of the first Grand Theft Auto, DMA Design planned on releasing a Sega Saturn port. Now this version of the game was going to be very similar to the original, but also feature enhanced graphics as well as a side 3D view. But unfortunately, due to DMA Design at this time working under very limited financial resources, this version of the game ended up being cancelled. Coincidentally, it was also around this time that some thieves broke into a DMA Design warehouse and ran away with 18,000 units of Grand Theft Auto. Although one thief was caught, thus allowing DMA to reclaim 700 of the stolen units, the remaining 17,300 were never found. All of this combined with poor sales of the Sega Saturn in North America is most likely what led DMA to cancel this port. Number 7. Grand Theft Auto on Nintendo 64. Similar to the Sega Saturn port, DMA initially had plans on putting out a Nintendo 64 port of Grand Theft Auto. Not a whole lot of information was released, but a few gaming publishing companies, such as IGN, were given a few bits and pieces of details. IGN 64 has learned that the game, though essentially a port of the PlayStation original, will feature significant additions in the vein of souped-up graphics and added levels and characteristics. No official screenshots were ever released, but a small number of gaming magazines in Italy and Spain featured some alleged screenshots. Now, whether or not said screenshots are genuine is up for speculation. And finally, at number 8, 9, and 10, GTA Bogota, GTA Sin City, and GTA Tokyo. The year is 2004. DMA Design, now known as Rockstar Games, has released a total of 6 Grand Theft Auto games. GTA San Andreas is already in development and scheduled to be released in about 9 months. None of Rockstar Games' other franchises have been quite as commercially and critically successful as all of the Grand Theft Auto games, especially GTA 3 and Vice City. Rockstar Games, as we all know by now, is known for their Hollywood blockbuster-style games. And just like almost anything Hollywood blockbuster, if there's money to be made in sequels, odds are you're gonna see a lot of sequels. In January of 2004, many gaming news sites have reported on Take-Two Interactive registering a total of 10 Grand Theft Auto related trademarks. Among these trademarks, you even had GTA 5, so you know that at this point, Rockstar Games is safely betting on the continued growth and success of the GTA franchise. But here's the thing, the way Rockstar made their games was way different back in 2004. This was way back when Rockstar would release an average of about 3 games per year. And so, Rockstar's parent company files 10 Grand Theft Auto trademarks including GTA 6, GTA Sin City, GTA Bogota, and GTA Tokyo. While details on these games are hard to find, some information regarding GTA Tokyo did surface back in 2016. And in similar fashion to Agent's development, several Rockstar Games employees traveled to Tokyo, Japan, for the purpose of taking pictures of the environment and studying the culture. This would have been a fun twist for the franchise, and it would have also allowed Rockstar to try something different. But as time passed, Rockstar began having doubts. The thing is, GTA has always been a satirical take on American culture, so having the series take place in Tokyo would break that tradition and jeopardize the format Rockstar has always went with prior. This is probably the same reason why GTA Bogota never happened either. And yeah, I have no idea how to pronounce Bogota. And likewise, Sin City never ended up being featured in any of the Grand Theft Auto games. There you f***ing have it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, then please give this video a like. And if you feel like it, please consider subscribing to my channel for more Bully and Rockstar Games related content. Oh, and before I go, I just want to mention that I recently made a guest appearance on the Subnami podcast. On the podcast, we made fun of some mind-numbingly stupid videos, and we also had a discussion about the absolutely terrible film that is Grown Ups 2. Make sure to check it out. I'll be sure to feature a link to it in the video info down below. I know I've been away for a while, but like always, I just keep on coming back, 'cause it feels so empty without me. Anyway, you folks, as always, stay classy. Peace.